morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 19th of January, year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of The Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle. Thank you very much for hopping in, tapping into what I got to say this week, this wonderful Friday on the 20th installment of The Coping Hour. Can I get a digital round of applause from everybody listening in their cars, listening at home, listening while they're sparking up, however you listen to this show, whatever state of mind. Thank you very much for being here. I do have to apologize for my appearance today. Still not feeling very good. It's way more physical, like it's a weakness thing. Like I haven't eaten a ton in the last 3 days, so I'm just not feeling good. It's still cold outside. I got to get cozy, and we got to talk about some sports. Some sports today. I'm already forgetting the timeline of when Belichick and Saban retired. Like if I should have said something about it on Monday, but for some reason I feel like it didn't happen. It hadn't happened yet, but it definitely maybe would have. Whatever the case is, I don't have anything to say about it at all. I don't have anything insightful to say that anybody else hasn't already said. I give both of them just a ton of credit for not doing the whole farewell tour thing. That's kind of the sentiment that I think everybody is sharing right now. And it's also just bizarre because, you know, we're going to be going into next season. Belichick very well could be coaching somewhere looking like maybe Atlanta. Whoa, what the heck? My girlfriend was like, why would he take that job? And I was like, I think the only reason is because Atlanta seems like the only team out there who would give him full control. And it feels like that's kind of what that's like part of the deal is if I'm going to coach your team, I also need to control the roster. And I don't think there are a ton of teams out there who are going to give that to a guy who is like pushing 80 years old right now. Although I say that, we give the keys to the fucking country to anybody with a pulse. You can be 95 years old. You could be like 89 hypothetically, 89 going into your second term, and people would still be like, what's the problem? Like, he's the best he's ever been. He can still be president. Oh, okay. So maybe I'm just saying nonsense. Maybe NFL teams don't operate this way. But the Atlanta thing would be interesting. Makes it way more interesting to see who they go after in the draft, which quarterback they find the most compelling. I still think do the Justin Fields thing, but I digress. Alabama losing dudes left and right. It sucks for the kids, honestly, because you in an instant, the dynasty that we've all known for the last 15 years is just kind of gone. It's just nowhere to be found anymore. What the hell happened? These kids wake up and he's gone. So, I'm sure there's a lot of Hellcats getting turned in right now. I'm sure there's a lot of like $50,000 to $150,000 not signing bonuses, but little increments, maybe that are having to be dished back out. I don't know how the NIL works. I don't know how it works. I wanted to do something kind of different for today's show. I don't know how it's gonna go, but every day I'm like in between shows, I'm like, ooh, I want to talk about this. But then it's like too far removed from when I'm recording next and I just space it. So this week I tried to like screenshot everything that I wanted to talk about. So that way, by the time Friday rolls around, I can do a new segment. And the new segment is called Things I Saw This Week. What did Nick see this week? I saw this little Shams tweet. Third fan returns on All-Star voting. I believe this is the last one before they announce. And I look at the front court in the West. I see the top 10. I'm not expecting to see Zion here. I don't think we have a reason to. But I think it's very, very funny that 5 years later, we're not talking about him anymore. And if we are talking about him, we're talking about him in a damn sense. You know what I mean? We're talking about him in a what could be sense. Not like what could have been, because like it could still happen with Zion, right? Because, like, it does happen. When he fucking plays, like, it happens, right? And what do we talk about with him? I don't really want to do the whole weight thing and food thing with him because as somebody who has a weird relationship with eating, I don't really want to disparage him for whatever the fuck he's got going on. I was watching a Mariah Mills live the other day, and I got to tell you, dude, the amount of – I don't even know why she goes on live because – for those of you who don't know about the Zion OnlyFans porn star controversy, Mariah Mills fired off a lot of very not nice tweets about Zion Williamson probably like 8 months ago at this point. And I've just been obsessed with her as a personality ever since, because some of the shit that she says is so out of pocket and so not cool that I, as somebody who is drama and gossip driven, I just kind of have to follow the breadcrumbs, right? So she was on live and everybody's talking in the comments. Well, why am I talking about Mariah Mills and her fucking IG live? I don't care. I don't care. You at home don't care. Let's just talk about Zion, the basketball player. If I'm like Zion's team, right? I'm in his camp, and I see Domantas Sabonis is ahead of my client. It's not a slight to Domantas Sabonis. He should be above Zion. Hell, he should be like maybe top 5 in voting. Like Sabonis is good. Not top 5. That's crazy. But he's good, right? Anybody is going to pick him over Zion for the most part. But it's the principle of it, right? This shiny new toy suddenly is not so shiny anymore. It's also not very new. We kind of know what we're getting with the experience. And this is what people were saying from the beginning. This is not an anti-Pelicans thing whatsoever. But it is a small market. It's not that stars can't, like, flourish there, because they totally can. We've seen it in the past. I mean, we've seen how those relationships have ended in the past, too. So I don't know how true is it. I don't know. But what I do know is that Zion Williamson, in the year of our Lord, 2024, just like not being in consideration for an all-star is devastating. Like, as a fan, as a guy who likes watching basketball, there was not a player in a lot of our lives in college basketball that was as dominant as he was. It's not like we got to see LeBron in college. You know what I mean? So even if you're going to sit there and be like, well, I was alive for St. Vincent, St. Mary, LeBron. Cool. I was, but like I was 3. So like that doesn't mean anything to me. Zion Williamson comes into the league. Into the NCAA. He goes to Duke. He's the most dominant player we've ever seen. If you go back and watch what they did to, was it Kentucky in the Champions Classic? When every year when it's like Michigan State, Duke, Kansas, and who am I forgetting? Michigan State, Kansas, Duke. Michigan State, Kansas, Duke. It's literally not North Carolina. Michigan State, Kansas, Duke. Whoever the other team is. Kentucky, thank God. Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke. I think it was Duke, Kentucky. Go back and watch what he and R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish and Jack White and all those guys. I think it was Trey Jones on that team. Go look at what they did. Go look at what they did all season. To fast forward now and to not have that guy drop stepping every other fucking possession and giving dudes 50 because you can't stop mass like that is devastating to me. And I wish we got to hear from Zion more. I hope this doesn't end the way that it seems like it's going with this whole, like, I don't know if I'm bought in. I don't know if he's made comments since that, like, kind of are a departure from that, and maybe he's like, things are fine now. Hey, if he's fine now, cool. But we're not talking about him as an all-star, and that means that he is not me. Like, dude, remember the first game that he even played in the NBA? 19 straight, 17 straight points that he had against the Spurs, and then he just gets like checked out, and they were losing the game, by the way, and then he does that, and then he gets checked out because he's on a minutes restriction, right? And everybody was like, boo, and even he was pissed about it. We've seen how destructive he can be. There are dudes in the league who, when they really try, when they're really on, there's nobody in the world that can be put in front of them that can stop them. I think even, I'm going to zag a little bit here. I'm going to go off the trail, off the beaten path. Jokic, sometimes, this season, I wonder if he's like, I can't say he's trying less because there's a chance that he ends the season and is literally averaging like Wilt numbers. But there was this take out there that maybe he's not trying as hard this year because he doesn't like the spotlight. And if he tries too hard, then he's going to win another MVP. Who said this? It's going to drive me insane that I don't remember who said this. But if he wins another MVP and it comes with all this recognition, and then he's got to do all these, there's more obligation to the media and to like the commercialization of your brand. And that's just not what he's interested in, dude. He just wants to like ride a horse and like get in the club. And does it sound like Zion kind of wants to do the same thing, but like with like Mountain Dew? Yeah. And I get that. That's pretty relatable. Miss you, Zion. Let's move on. You know what else I saw this week? The Detroit Pistons are trying to trade for something that they already have at home. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The Detroit Pistons are looking at Dejounte Murray. My take sneaky a week ago was, what if they do Trae Young? What if Troy Weaver does Blake Griffin 2.0, minus like all the injury shit? I just mean the principle of a GM who has a gun to his head, and there's literally, he's got to make a trade, he's got to do something drastic, and he goes after like Trae Young. All right, fine, I was wrong about that, because the truth is that we do not have enough for that. But the Pistons want to go after Dejounte Murray. Okay, cool. I don't hate it. I don't hate it if you told me that 3 years ago, right? And then, of course, the day that report comes out, Dejounte Murray goes down and hits a game-winning shot. A game-winning shot that I would like to point out Trae Young decided that he didn't want to participate in, that he wasn't in the mood to be there if he didn't have the ball. Cool. Good for Trae Young. Happy for him. Here's my thing, Dejounte Murray or Troy Weaver is like, okay, you want Dejounte Murray because you're going to tell me that he's a really, really good defender. He has been in the past. He has been a very, very good defender. But I would say that when you're playing next to Trae Young, it should probably be more obvious to me all the time how good you are on defense. Do you know what I mean? And we haven't gotten that a ton out of Dejounte Murray this year. He's not exactly the Dejounte Murray of old. And I'm not saying it's because of age or anything. I don't know what it is, whatever. But I think there's a part of him where, dude, when he was leaving San Antonio, we were sneaky calling him like a triple-double machine. And my question is like, what does he do that you don't already think or hope Jaden Ivey is going to do in like 2 or 3 years, right? By the way, you have to actually play Jaden Ivey. You do have to put him on the floor, which Monty Williams has been doing. And guess what's happened? Jaden Ivey put up like a 30-piece, and it was probably the best that he's ever looked, right? And this is coming from a guy who still isn't sold on Jaden Ivey. But the truth and reality is that, like, it's the same fucking picture, right? That's a move just for the sake of making a move where you can say, we traded one of our young guys for a guy who can play today. Again, dude, Jaden Ivey can play today, and he can play on this team. It bothers me because it's like, well, first of all, what are you going to give up? Because if that Pascal Siakam trade, by the way, didn't terrify Pistons fans more than the OG Anunoby trade, first of all, also, maybe I'm just going to pivot for a quick second. People think Siakam isn't going to resign? People really think that Pascal Siakam isn't going to resign in Indiana? We're talking about like the fastest offense ever. Like the best scoring offense ever. Like better than 7 seconds or less, Mike D'Antoni, Suns, right? You're giving that guy Tyrese Halliburton. You're giving that guy the ability to, and I'm not going to sit here. I've seen so many people try to make the point like, oh my God, Indiana's 3-point percentage saved. A sub thing I learned this week is that, first of all, people still call other people casuals, because I saw everybody was like, you're fucking casual. Like, no way. I also saw somebody call, we put up a video on Jacob's Rusty Bucket's second channel that I edited. And somebody ended up calling him a casual. And I was like, you guys still do this? You guys still care? Like, it's such a weird, I'm going off track too much here. Get back to Pascal, Nick, or get back to Dejounte Murray. Let's do Pascal for 2 seconds. I honestly think we should be talking about Indiana as like the team. Because Pascal Siakam is going to be tornadoing, fucking Wile E. Coyoteing, whirlwinding around the basket in Bankers Life Fieldhouse for like the rest of his life. I love the fit so much. I don't think there's a coach, by the way, who knows how to use him more than Rick Carlisle will. And it also makes you think like, damn, could they have gotten him in Dallas? Because they tried at least once, probably twice, maybe even thrice to get him in Dallas. But I think that the punch that he's going to add is going to be incredible. But just on the 3-point percentage thing, yeah, Pascal just like sucks at shooting threes. But I think sneaky, and I'm going to look into this right now because I think there's actually something, it's like he's kind of having like an anomaly season this year. Pascal Siakam, not a numbers podcast, by the way, but I do actually kind of want to get this just for the sake of, Just for the sake of it, sorry, I know this is bad podcasting. Yeah, I mean, he's shooting 31% from three. Is there like a game log? I'm not going to look into it because if I just can look at the bare bones this season, he's shooting 31%. Okay, he's not having an anomaly season then. But he's not a great three-point shooter. That's not what Indiana's getting. Let's go back to the Dejounte Murray thing. No. I like him a lot. But I'm going to be kind of like, you know what, man? Fuck it. Who cares? Trade Jaden Ivey. Fuck around and find out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we all get to laugh at you and you lose your job. And finally, somebody will get fired. Troy Weaver, please, I beg of you, do this. I have nothing to lose at this point as a fan, by the way. You've taken the joy out of this entire experience. Cade not playing basketball for, I guess, the foreseeable future. The initial report was 7 to 10 days, and he'll be reevaluated. How far removed are we from that? I think about a week, right? Maybe close to a week and a half, but at least a week. We'll see when he comes back, but it makes it really hard to watch the games. Even if, since then, they've won, by the way. Kyle Kuzma, how does it feel to be the team that you said nobody wanted to be? Fucker. Marvin Bagley goes out there, puts up a nice little 20-piece last night. Didn't Jalen Brunson have like 41? OG Anunoby logging 43 minutes in 2 consecutive games. Dude is just standing over the free throw line with his hands on his knees like, Tibbs, please, for the love of God, take me out of this game. He's never going to change. Tibbs, he's literally never going to change. It's a story as old as time. If you are playing on his team, you are capital P, bolded, italicized, underlined, playing. And the OG Anunoby thing, credit to somebody in my comments the other day who was citing something where OG, I guess, said, hey, if you trade me to the Knicks, like sneaky, I'm interested in that and I'll resign. Oh, okay, cool. And it's the same thing with the Pacers. You don't give up 3 firsts if you're not expecting to get him back. And I say that knowing that, like, Pascal wants to do the free agency thing. He wants to experience the courtship, right? The courting process and getting wooed by all these teams, getting flued out. You know, all these nice little spreads and whatnot. Maybe hypothetically having a fake jersey retired, you know, hoisted into the rafters, hypothetically. I don't know why a team would do that, but they could if they wanted to entice Pascal Siakam. He wants to do it. He wants to get wined and dined. I don't blame him for that. But I think by the end of it, he's just going to stay with Indiana. Let's move on. This one's going to be real quick. We're just going to do like 2-3 minutes on this one. You know what else I saw this week? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Michigan's Jim Harbaugh says college athletes should unionize. Not going to read the rest of it. Jim seizing the means of production Harbaugh. I love that in the midst of him, and this isn't new from him, but I love that in the midst of him interviewing for NFL jobs, on his way out, he's still talking about the kids. And that's because the truth is he's giving the illusion that he might stay by like restructuring or renegotiating this contract situation with Michigan. Again, that's just an illusion thing. That's a leverage thing for the jobs that he's looking at in the NFL. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking I could stay in Ann Arbor. I don't know. So that way teams will really throw everything at him to come out, right? But I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion. Like, look, dude, you did it. You did what you couldn't do at Stanford with Andrew Luck. You went into the NFL, you got that close and you lost to your brother. You went back to Michigan, you went back to your home school, you were the guy and you did it, man. You took your team to the promised land. Like, take your victory lap and go do the next thing. It's, hey, right? Nobody's mad at him for it. And I really just appreciate that. I think how we're going to look back on Harbaugh is truly how villainized he was. I say this as a Michigan State fan, because when you look at all the times he's been in the crosshairs of the NCAA, it always stems from shit like this. And you're going to say, well, he was fucking cheating. Yeah, sure. But it always stems from the NCAA being like, no, these fuckers shouldn't get paid. No, you can't help these kids. No, stop trying to tell these kids like what's good for them. We know what's good for these kids. And I just really, really appreciate that there are so many coaches in college football, Dabo Sweeney, that are like, fuck these kids. They shouldn't get paid. Like, this is a game. Like, they should just, are they in it for the money or are they in it for and there's some of it, and there is something to that. There is absolutely something to that some of these kids are just like, it does kind of stink that the proverbial art of being a 3 or 4 year starter at a school is gone. And now, so many 17, 18-year-old kids are just getting screwed by these fucking guys who are like, I need my 7th year of eligibility. I need my 8th year of eligibility. Or this fucking guy from playing for Miami who just got his 9th year of eligibility. You're fucking it up for the other kids. Man, like, I get it. This is your dream too. You're 26. You're 26. Brandon Whedon was 27 playing college football, and he got drafted. How crazy is that, by the way? How crazy is that? And this is no shade to the adopted kids out there who watch this show, but it's literally the equivalent of going to a foster home, seeing a 17-year-old kid and being like, yep, mine. That's the one I want. I'm picking that one. Hey, I don't know what goes into that. I'm sure psychologically there are reasons for it, whatever. Like, I get it. Everybody deserves a home. Nobody's any less deserving of fucking parents, but still, it's the principle. You'd think they'd go for like the brand new baby where it's like, this is our kid. But instead, the Browns were like, no, we want this guy who's like 3 years away from being eligible for fucking AARP. Like, huh? So I say all that just to say, I am so excited for these COVID year super seniors to leave. And I'm really, really excited because it also sucks because then it wasn't a Dion that was like, dude, we don't even give out scholarships. Like, we just do the transfer portal. Because if I can get a 21-year-old kid who we know who he is, we know what he can do, what he can't do, what motivates him, what doesn't motivate him because he's 21, right? Or we can get this 17-year-old kid who we have no idea. What are you going to do? Well, these coaches, their lifespans are not very long in their jobs, in their seats. So, yeah, you're going to go for the kid who can probably make you really, really good right now. These kids they hardly get redshirted anymore. It just sucks. Just really sucks for them. And I think it'll kind of start to level out. I think it'll start to plateau. Like, by the end of the decade, I think, well, who knows? Who knows, truly, by the end of the decade. But within the next few years here, what I'm talking about specifically right now, I think will kind of subside. So, Jim Harbaugh, good for you, dude. Thanks for being about it. Thanks for being for the cause. They should unionize. Everybody should unionize. Can we unionize on YouTube? What would that look like? I don't know if we need better rev share on here. Like, sure, it could always be better, but in the grand scheme of things, when you sort of look at the landscape, like the only good deal you're gonna, because Patreon takes what, like 30%. The TikTok creator fund is kind of all over the place. There are some people who make a ton of money, and then there are a lot of people who will get like 5 million views, and then TikTok is like, here's $15, and you're like, oh, okay. Is 5 million views that many? Yeah, even if it's short form content, dude, that's nuts. That's nuts. That's crazy. So yeah, you should get more than like $15 on YouTube. Most of your favorite YouTubers make more than like 2 teachers combined. A lot of them do. Not all of them. 2 teachers combined is kind of crazy, but they make at least more than a teacher does. I had like I don't want to get into this, but I don't think I'm going anywhere. Let's move on. I'm going to quickly break the whole, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Things I saw this week mold, because we have an email and I did not see this. And we talked about Pascal, and I think this would be good to splice this in. From John, subject line, congrats. The Raptors just traded Pascal Siakam. Yay, they did it. The Raptors have finally cast off both Pascal and OG Anunoby, their 2 most valuable trade assets, and have acquired draft picks and players that better fit around Scotty Barnes. So clearly this calls for a celebration. Ha. Just kidding. Because guess what? OG and Pascal aren't on the Raptors anymore, and that just means all the bullshit last season was 100% for nothing. After spending the 2022-2023 season holding on to a core of players that every NBA analyst was saying needed to be moved in order to focus on the young, then reigning Rookie of the Year, the great Masai Ujiri instead opted to ignore what many reported to be a very lucrative trade offer in order to trot out a lineup of players that did not mesh very well together and limp through a season that would result in a 500 record and a play-in loss. I guess I can't be too hard on Masai. I mean, he wasn't totally inactive. At the deadline, he traded for former Raptor Jakob Poeltl in exchange for a 2024 first-round pick that would be sure to diminish in value as the team was merely a quality center away from contention. And following that loss, following the loss in the play-in, Masai also made the decision to move on from Nick Nurse, who now captains an underperforming Sixers team. Fuck Masai Ujiri. Wow, thanks, John, for the fiery email here. I'm not really sure that I agree with much of the sentiment here, because first of all, I'm going to say I'm not going to be that guy. I am actually going to lead with this. You guys did win a championship with this guy, right? We're talking about the same guy who traded for Kawhi. And that's in the past. You know, we're 5 years removed from that. Like, how long can we still talk about that? A while. Because what happens when Kawhi comes back to Toronto, John? What do you guys do to Kawhi? You guys treat him like he's the fucking president. Okay? So my thing is this. If I'm a Raptors fan and I just pull up the roster really quick, okay, what are we looking at? Scotty Barnes, love him. RJ Barrett, catching fucking strays from Carmelo Anthony for being bland. Yeah, I mean, you know what you're getting with him. Rather, you don't. Rather, that's the problem, is that you don't know what you're getting from him on any given night. They got Quickly. They got Schroeder. They got Pirtle. They got Gary Trent. They got Grady Dick, who, like, can't make it out of the G League. Otto Porter, like, I don't know, man. Jordan Nwora, Bruce Brown, Kyra Lewis. Kyra Lewis in Toronto is really fun. I like that. Here's the Bruce Brown take. The guy already got paid. You think he cares? I think he cares that he's not in Indiana anymore, because if there's any team that you kind of want to be on right now, boy, does that sound fun. But, dude, if you're a Raptors fan, you're about to flip Bruce Brown for something sweet, right? I don't know if that's capital or if it's for, like, a dude. Can you get a dude for Bruce Brown, do you think? I don't think you can. I think you get, like, you might get, like, 2 seconds and a kid you've never heard of, and like a two-way kid you've never heard of. You know what I mean? Is that a take that I also have? Is there are dudes in the NBA who I've never heard of, ever. And I think the suspect here is two-way contracts. I think there are just too many of them, and that means that there are so many guys that are on the margins that, like, I'll just be watching a Pistons game, and this guy will check. Dude, it was literally, I make the joke about, like, people still call people casuals. We were playing the Jazz like a month ago, like a month and a half ago, whatever it was. And they had this, like, Italian kid check in. And for the first time in truly, I don't know how many years, I looked at him and I was like, who the hell is this? I've never seen him. I've never heard of him. I don't know who he is. I don't even know if he's a two-way guy. But I do think that's the perpetrator here. Fuck Masai Ujiri? I don't know, man. Yeah, I get it. Raptors fans are kind of like, we're in the shit right now, and we finally suck. Didn't you guys just get, like, a cumulatively 5 first-round picks for the 2 guys that you're pissed about trading? Oh, well, we had better offers on the table last year. Why didn't you trade them then? That's your point. How do we know that that's true? Like, these words, these reports coming out that, like, oh, the Pistons could have gotten 3 first-round picks for Isaiah Stewart 3 years ago. I'm totally sure that they could have. But you don't think that call is coming from inside the house? You don't think that could just be somebody from Detroit being like, yeah, Isaiah Stewart, really valuable, so that way somebody just might throw in an offer for 3 first-round picks? That's how this shit works. So whatever you were hearing last year about, well, we could have gotten this for Pascal, and now this is all we got? The fuck you mean this is all we got, first of all? But, like, this is what we could have gotten for OG Anunoby, and now this is all we got? Like, no. What you guys got for both of them is turning you into what you want to be. And it's a waiting game. Anybody who emails into this show bitching about their basketball team, I beg and implore you to remember who you are emailing into. Do you think it couldn't be worse? I'm not trying to make this about me. Honestly, like, use some perspective. Look at how Detroit has managed their assets. We've never even had a guy that good that we could trade. Do you know how long it's been since Detroit has had a player in the tier, even in the general paradigm of the 2 players that the Raptors just traded in the span of, 2-3 weeks, that could yield as much as they got? I don't know. I don't know when that was. Was it Grant? Like prime, I guess, Grant Hill? I guess. Was it the Chauncey trade? I don't know. It was never Andre. It wasn't Blake. You'd have to go back for this, dude. So I just pump the brakes, It's not fuck Masai Ujiri. Yeah, man, sometimes you look back and like you wasted a season or two. It happens. The Pistons are a season behind or two on their timeline right now. You miss your windows sometimes, man. But don't get caught up in what you could have gotten, because those offers very easily may not have been real, right? Stick in there, John. Hang in there, rather. And let's move on. Very famously, the Coping Hour is not a prediction podcast. It's not a prediction-based show. Unless it's like we play the long game on some takes. That's different, though. I just mean like the short term, the shelf life of, I've talked about this before, but the Lions play on Sunday. Why would I give predictions on Wild Card Weekend right now, right? Because they're going to age terribly. So at the risk of sounding like I'm doing that, I'm not doing that. Fair, not doing that, just to be clear, not a prediction. But I want you guys to kind of get in my head a little bit. Not like fuck with me, get in my head, but like when you, if you're not a Lions fan, can sit down on Sunday and watch that divisional game against Tampa Bay, I want you to be thinking about me. I want you to be keeping me in your thoughts, keeping me in your prayers. Whenever Mike Evans has that back-breaking 35-yard just dagger, I want you to be like, how's Nick reacting right now? Okay? Can I tell you why I'm scared? Because I'm not. I was terrified when we played Tampa Bay in like week 6. Because I was like, Baker Mayfield is playing really good football. Baker Mayfield is playing like some of the best football of his career. By the way, in January, that's still true. Part of me is just like, that crowd is going to be so nuts that I think if we can get them to burn 2 timeouts the same way that we got the Rams to burn a timeout, which, by the way, as Alex Anzalone said, as Amon-Ra St. Brown said, as Equinemius St. Brown said, if you are attending the Lions game on Sunday, you got to get loud when the Bucs are still in the huddle. Because if you start getting loud when they break the huddle, they already know the play. Sure, if they got to kill it or check to something else, like maybe they'll just have to, plug and play some words like Baker was talking about. But for the most part, you want to start when they're trying to get the play in. You know what I mean? So let's get that decibel level up to like 135. I think it was at 133 last week. Hell, let's get it to 140. Let's push it to 140. Let's give people some permanent hearing damage. I think that's probably the best case scenario from this game, is beating the hospitalization number of the Bills-Chiefs game. 15 people were hospitalized for like frostbite treatment. Let's break that, but for like bursted eardrums. Okay, let's try our best to do that. Maybe have people sign some waivers when they come in that like, hey, we're not liable if you can't hear after this game, because ultimately, if you can't hear, you are probably part of the problem, right? If you can't handle a loud environment, God forbid I see like a 3-year-old at this game, not a 3-month-old with those big ass headphones. Please don't do that in the playoffs. Please do not bring that kid to this game, because that's not nice. That is abusive parenting, and you should be in jail. But I'm scared of this game because I'm not scared, because I trust this team. Do you hear what I'm saying? People have been making such a big deal out of these fucking guys crying on TV because the Lions won a playoff game. Do you think that wasn't all of us? And I get, for some people, that's why they're sharing it, because it's like, dude, this is what it means to us. This is how real it is. I've gotten emotional all week, just randomly throughout the day, because I'm like, I can't believe we did that. I can't believe we did that. And J-Mo is like, dude, fans have made it seem like we've already won the Super Bowl, and we won 1 playoff game, right? It just feels great. I'm going into this game expecting, I don't know. I'm expecting to be really scared. I'm going into that Green Bay San Francisco game thinking someone's getting killed. I don't think this game is close, but I think someone is like, this is going to be like a 45 to like 24. Like someone is going to get the brakes beaten off of them. And then whoever that ends up being, either Detroit plays at home against Green Bay if they win, or they go on the road and they go to San Francisco. Here's the thing. If the Lions win, what do I want? I don't know. Because I don't want to play Jordan Love right now. We're all seeing it in real time. we're seeing the numbers that he's putting together, these games that he's putting together. He's thrown like 20 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 2 months. Okay? I don't really want to play that. They beat us at home a month and a half ago on Thanksgiving. A game that ruined my week, ruined my day. A game that was coming off of us almost losing to the Bears. Barely squeaked that one out. And then we did end up losing to the Bears a few weeks later. Or you play San Francisco, the proverbial giant of the NFL, right? This is a San Francisco-Baltimore Super Bowl waiting to happen. We all see it. We've been telegraphing this for a couple months now. Baltimore has seemed like the team to beat, and San Francisco has seemed like the team to beat. I'd argue I don't understand how either of these teams ever lose with how talented they are. But such is life in the NFL any given Sunday. It happens. So I don't know what I want. Because going up to Santa Clara, people are like, oh, well, at least it's California, baby. Be nice and warm. It's NorCal. It's not 65 and sunny in January. In NorCal every day. It can get a little chilly up there. You know, hell, can't they get snow up there in NorCal? In like absolute California they can. But I don't know if they get it in San Francisco. Someone will have to correct me on that. There's no way they do. But like, I'm just thinking about geographically and like the map and the, what's the thing? Not the Tropic of Cancer, whatever I'm thinking of. I think I want to play Green Bay though, just for the sake of playing at home. Alrighty, folks. Go Lions. If you're a Bucs fan, I hate you. I hate you this week. I hate you, Bucs fans. Let's move on. I got to tell you guys something. I've been meaning to bring this up a couple weeks now. I need to sit you all down, and we need to have a conversation because my girlfriend is not happy. She is not happy. And believe it or not, it's not my fault. It's you guys. You guys did something bad. I don't know who it was, but the Coping Hour email has been hijacked. And somebody signed us up for Scientology newsletter updates. I'm not complaining. I think it's funny. The millisecond that I saw, thank you for signing up with I said, whoever did this, please come forward. Please come forward. And now that I'm asking you to do that, 10 of you fuckers are going to be like, oh, it was me. Notice me, senpai. Fuck you. I'm going to know if you're lying. Okay? If there's any proof, please come forward. This is only an incredible bit that now every day that I check emails for this show, I also have to scroll past this week in Scientology. And guess what? I read it every single time, because if you're going to hand out reading material, like, yeah, I want to see what this is all about. And this is stemming from me, I'm assuming like 3 weeks ago when I was like, yeah, I would definitely fall for a cult. Like, I'm definitely susceptible to that. I know that I am. I'm not even being funny when I say that. Like, it's kind of a scary thing that, like, it's one of my doomsday scenarios that I fall victim to a cult. And I guess somebody heard this after I mentioned the Scientology building here in Chicago, and they were like, they just hatched the perfect plan. The reason that my girlfriend is upset is because she is very aware of how in the weeds I will get with certain things. I am very level-headed about aliens on the show. If you run into me in person and are interested in hearing about aliens, I would love to have that conversation with you, and you are going to hear me say some insane shit that you're going to be like, I don't know if I like this guy anymore, because I'm too online with it, okay? These, like, jellyfish UAPs that are flying around, people are like, oh, it's just a balloon. How many fucking kids' birthday parties are happening on military bases around the world? I don't doubt that they happen, but some of these, like, because the other problem is, like, is these aliens aren't even getting picked up on, like, infrared shit. I don't want to get into this. So I say all of this just to say my girlfriend is upset at whoever signed me up for Scientology newsletter updates. I'm telling you, it was very funny, but she just doesn't want me to keep reading it because I already have a take. I have 2 takes about Scientology. One, what the fuck? What do they do? Because, like, the first thing that they sent me was like a here is our sort of New Year 2024 newsletter wrapping up all of the cool shit that we did in 2023. And I was like, okay, Scientology, like, talk to me. Like, what did you guys do last year? And like everything was just opening a new church in some underdeveloped part of the world. And I was like, huh? But like, and then they're like, oh, and like we're at every crisis that happens. Scientology's always boots on the ground with like earthquakes, tsunamis, all this stuff. They're like, oh, we're always there. Disaster relief, we're always there. But they just kind of said that, and then they just didn't like include any other information or any other pictures or anything. And I was like, oh, okay. So like, what do you guys do there? Do you guys just kind of show up and go like, well, we were here, and then you leave, and we're like, we're there for everything. The other thing I learned is like, to me, you guys want to go off the rails a little bit? Put your seatbelts on. To me, the idea that our origin, and I'm watering this down, but the idea that our origin comes from some sort of extraterrestrial or like extra dimensional beings, to me makes way more sense than like omniscient people. And you would probably argue, well, aren't these same aliens that are like dropping, what the fuck is the Scientology thing that like aliens got dropped into a volcano and then the souls of those aliens came out of the volcanoes in Hawaii and then found cavemen and like entered the cavemen, and so now all of our souls are actually the aliens. See, when you talk about it like that, and by the way, that's like actually it. That's like what the Scientology thing is all about. I'm again super watered down, but that's basically what it is. So when you say it like that, it's like, well, that's fucking insane, right? Here's my problem. Wild that I'm about to alienate a bunch of people and do that I'm even talking about religion at all. Here's my only problem, and I would love some feedback on this for people who are God-fearing, for people who are religious. I have a hard time, as somebody who has tried in the past, to really get on board and believe in something, but I just don't. Because I get so hung up on like all of these denominations of faith that we have internationally. Well, only one of you is going to be right, if that. And like it could be some combination of like a bunch of them, right? We might not even have the right explanation. We might not. But everybody who believes what they believe believes that they're right. You know what I mean? And obviously that causes like wars and shit. You know, I saw fucking Lex Friedman posting like, my heart is so heavy. Oh, everything happening in Ukraine, everything happening in the Middle East, everything is just so sad. Yeah. But at least you don't have to deal with like, I don't know, your apartment flooding inexplicably, Lex Friedman. You know, at least you get to just go to work and sit on your fucking podcast and talk to Jeff Bezos. What's happening to Jeff Bezos? Why has there not been more commentary on how much of a melted lizard he's become? He looks horrible. He sounds horrible. Go look at Jeff Bezos like 5 years ago. Like, at least he was a person, even if he laughed like a supervillain. Now, dude, what is going on? What's going on? Let me get back on track. I have a big issue with like, I always just need to know the reason, especially when it comes to psychology. So like whenever I'm able to identify like a behavioral pattern of myself, I always need to trace it. And I need to say like, why do I do this? Where did this come from? And it always comes back to something that happened to me as a kid, whatever it is, right? I'm like, oh, it's probably because of this, right? Because to me, I need to follow that trail and I need the answer. I need an answer. So the problem that I always end up having with religion is I can't do faith. It's so difficult for me to be like, what if I'm wrong? And I'm kind of being serious. Like, what if I spend my entire life devoted to this belief and then it turns out, no, you just die. That's it. Because it's a comfort thing to me. Like, I think a lot of people, and there are some people who just straight up believe it, but I think that there are people who they believe what they believe because it's a comforting idea to them. But there are people who believe in like reincarnation because the idea to them that when it's over, it's not really over is way better than when it's over, it's over. And I think Ethan Hawke had such an elegant and articulate take on this when he was like, I think that our understanding of time and space and the divine is so far from what is reality that we have no idea that this body, mind, spirit, soul could all be connected while we're still here. But then once we're gone, it's like, well, maybe the soul still lives. It's all of this. There's so many components that we don't know. And that's why I just have such a hard time with it. We get emails even. We're like, someone at the end will be like, P.S. We've talked about it on the show, like, why do I say Year of Our Lord when I'm not religious? I don't know. We also get a lot of emails about this Cade card back here. Got one the other day. It was like, what grade is it? 10. I don't know if you guys could see, or if this is even interesting. I don't know if that's what you guys want to see. There you go. Grade 10. That's good, right? Because I don't understand how that works. Because I got this as a gift. And obviously because it's Cade, it's literally my favorite thing in the world. But I don't give a shit about, like, I'm not a collector, right? I'm not in it. I don't have that because I know it's valuable. I have it because it was a wonderful gift. It was a very thoughtful gift from the person I got it from. And it's Cade Cunningham. Like, of course I love it. But I'm not in it. Like, I don't understand how things are graded. Like, oh, it's a grade 10 and it's like mint. I know what mint means, but wow, this is 10 minutes. I'm 10 minutes into this take. It's not even a take. It's just nonsense. Went to the movies last night. Saw Zone of Interest. Finally got to see Zone of Interest. For those of you who don't know, it is an international foreign film. I would classify it as a film. I would say it's that. It's not a movie. It's a film. Sorry if that made me sound like an asshole. This camera is not focusing. I'm sorry if you're watching this on YouTube. The camera is like tweaking right now, and I don't know why. I don't know why it just won't focus. So I'm just going to wrap the show up. And we'll see you guys on Monday. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. If you are listening to this on the Spotify, be sure to leave 5 stars. I love you all very much. Continued support means the world to me. And I will catch you guys.
Beautiful. Primary control.